Hey guys, Matt here. So for this video, we're going to go over my portfolio update for the year of 2021. Now, I show my portfolio weekly or almost weekly, but this video is going to be special because I'm not just going to show you the positions. I'm going to show you my unrealized gains, my realized gains, my performance over the year. I'm going to show you my dividends. I'm going to show you my net worth. I'm going to show you a lot of stuff in this video, and at the end, I'm going to talk about my plans for 2022, so stick around. So let's get started with the positions here. Now, in Fidelity, if you receive dividends on a stock on a Friday, then for that whole weekend, the total gain and loss, that amount gets blanked out. So this amount you see here, the actual amount is lower than what you see here. But don't worry, that's not going to affect the rest of the video. My current value is correct. We're sitting at $68,839.22. And what can I say about this year? Now, to be fair, for a lot of my bigger stocks, they've done pretty well. Bank of America has done really, really well over the past year. If we look at the chart by the year, it's going nothing but up. I'm very happy with this. And over 2022, when the Fed actually puts interest rates back, actually hikes them back up, I expect that this is gonna shoot up over 2022. Now, what I do with the stock after that, who knows? But I will be keeping this throughout 2022. Now, I'm not gonna talk about every stock here in my portfolio, but just some of the memorable ones. For example, Cisco. Cisco is not a stock that gets me a lot of YouTube views. Not at all. However, this is one of the best performing stocks in my portfolio. I'm doing really, really well from a dividend payout perspective and from growth, actually. We shot up from roughly $45 at the beginning of this year to $63. That's pretty good. Now, I don't know how far it's going to go up from there, but I'm happy to see it. FedEx is roughly the same. Let's take a look at Facebook. Facebook is going nothing up. So for a lot of my bigger stocks, I'm doing pretty well. However, there are some companies that have not done so well. For example, Gevo has fell off a cliff since February and might continue to fall off a cliff through the first half of 2022. We'll see what happens. We got Palantir, which was a stock I bought recently. It's showing some losses, but hopefully 2022 will be better. AT&T is interesting because for the year, it started off doing so well until April. For one, all telecommunication stocks fell off a cliff gradually over the year, so it's not just AT&T. But, that's when AT&T also announced the whole, divesting from Warner Media. And from that moment on, the stock just fell off a cliff. Although it's seen some recent gains. We'll see if that continues or not. But, yeah, AT&T is a spicy stock, to say the least. Revolve, Tapestry, Tesla, and Qualcomm. I don't know why I said it in that order, but these stocks have done really, really well this year. Despite the pullback from Revolve, aside from the last couple of months or so, because in November and December were pretty much bad months for everyone. But until the middle of November, right, Revolve is just on its way up, and I suspect in 2022, as long as we continue to have a functioning economy, Revolve will, pick right back up. Tapestry has had its ups and downs throughout the year, but, it's, on the whole, I think it's done pretty well from the perspective of my cost basis. And not only that, but Tapestry has also reinstated dividends, so I'll be happy to continue holding on to the stock for the next couple of years. Now, if you're watching this on a mobile, I'm very sorry, but this is the best way I can get all the information into one screen as far as my performance throughout the year. Now, you will see. Now, I know someone asked about this earlier in the month, but I wasn't able to give an answer because, well, it doesn't calculate until month end. But as of the year, I have deposited $26,700 into my portfolio, which I was pretty shocked to see. And I started the year with $35,000, just over $35,000. I'm ending the year with $68,800, which is pretty good. And that's $7 grand's worth of gains this year. it's not the most spectacular amount of gains in the history of all the stock market, but hey, you know, it was a rough year. Now, if we look through the life of available data, let's look over here. You will see that I have deposited $51,940.34 since I first started the portfolio in the beginning of March, and my gains since I started investing was $16,905.27. So I think I'm doing pretty well, but you know, hopefully things will get better in 2022. As far as dividends go for the year, I made just over $1,000 this year, which pretty cool nonetheless, and an average of $85 a month. Now for my realized gains, stuff I sold. You will note here and here where I experimented selling call and put options just to get my feet wet in the whole world of options, and I got some good experience out of it. I made $86 and just under $3 there. I don't know if it's something I'm going to continue doing in 2022, but we'll see what happens. But now that I know how it works, and you know, we'll see what happens. I sold Sony. I sold Orion, which was a spinoff of Realty, because honestly, I didn't want anything to do with that, so I sold it for money. Hyliion, we know what happened with Hyliion, but looking back, now I didn't plan this at the time, but looking back, this was a fortunate move because now I get to write this off against my taxes when I file them next year, and because without that, I have to file all this in short-term gains, so I get to save myself a tiny chunk of money. And if Hyliion gets his act together in 2022, I might buy the shares back, but we'll see. Cloudera, well, I didn't sell Cloudera. Cloudera went private, and so I was forced to sell. And then Bank of America, I sold Bank of America earlier this year, I think, or earlier last year to buy Verizon. But as you saw earlier, I still have plenty of shares of Bank of America left. Here, you can see me absolutely getting my ass kicked by the S&P 500. Like, 2020 was a great year. Well, it was a great year for everyone in stocks, but, I mean, I destroyed the stock market last year. I destroyed the S&P 500 last year, but I think this year, yeah, the S&P 500 is making me its bitch. Now, hopefully in 2022, when all those growth stocks that have been losing me money turn around, if that happens, hopefully things will get a little better, but for now, it is what it is. Moving on to my net worth, according to Fidelity Full View, I have a net worth of $130,836. Now, moving on to my plans for 2022. Now, this year I had a goal. Well, this year, by this year I mean 2021, I had a goal to reach 60K, and I beat that goal soundly. The goal for 2022 is to get my portfolio from where it is now to 100K. Now that's going to be a bit of a challenge because that means I'm going to have to deposit even more money than I did last year, and I'm going to have to hope for a more favorable stock market than last year. But it's something that I think can be done. So 100K by December 21st, 2022, that's going to be my goal. Now, as far as individual stocks, like, I gotten very used to having 18 stocks. Now, I know that is a lot of stocks to have, but I've gotten very, very used to this. Now, as far as what I want to do as far as moving in and out of positions, now, I want to talk about stocks like Johnson & Johnson and Realty, these stocks specifically, because when I invest, these are great companies, by the way. These are absolutely great stocks, 100%. When I invested in these companies, this was back when I thought that $1,500 was a lot of money, and at the time of my investment, it was for my portfolio. That was a lot of money. Now, I mean, when I want to open a position, I mean, I'm starting out with at least $2,000, maybe more. And what I'm trying to say is, what do I want to do with these stocks? Like, they've already gone up massively. Now they're paying dividends, but they're not paying a lot of dividends. Which means that as my portfolio as my portfolio grows, what am I going to do with this? Because I want to collect dividends, but realistically, this isn't something that's going to grow a lot. So what do I want to do? I either need to add a lot of my I either need to buy a lot more stock while I'm already at 16.3% gains, or I should sell out of my positions. Now, I'm not going to do anything just yet, because if I'm going to sell out a good stock like this, I need to have a great stock to put my money into. So I'm not going to do anything as of late, but it's just something I've been thinking about as I'm consolidating my portfolio. Now, Revolve is a different case because Revolve was made for growth. Tapestry is a different case because Tapestry is made for growth. Bank of America, I was sort of teetering last year, but right now, Bank of America is kind of poised for growth. Like, for dividend stock, like, I'm doing pretty well. So, Bank of America is not on the list. But Johnson & Johnson and Realty, despite me loving the stocks, and from the perspective of my portfolio, like, I'm thinking of getting rid of the stocks, but I need to have a stock to put my money into. But I'll have to think about that. But anyways, that's my portfolio for the year. Take care, have a good day, and eat your vegetables.